In the 1970s, secularized meditation hit the West with the so-called transcendental meditation, TM. Previous to that, some people had heard of meditation as a difficult yogic or Buddhist spiritual undertaken by monks with great difficulty and with a lot of austerity, but this is secularized meditation. It's specifically stated it has no religious connotation, very simple, accessible, anyone can do it by mantra repetition, and it was advertised as being conducive to deep relaxation, reducing stress, improving focus, overall mental well-being, physical well-being, specifically secularized. And similarly, yoga around the same time became increasingly popular. It's now part of the life of many people in the Western world, to such an extent that people who do meditation and yoga, and those who don't, at least everyone's heard of it, and many times they don't associate with these practices, meditation and yoga, with anything of any spiritual background. Yeah, it's caught on. In Britain, a study in 2018 indicated that about 15% of British adults had taken courses or learned to practice mindfulness, specifically mindfulness, and about 9% were still doing it regularly. And another study showed that about 26% practice some type of meditation, 12% regularly, and it's probably grown since then, which is more than in the countries they originated in, because these meditation and mindfulness practices came out of the East, out of Hindu and Buddhist traditions, but meditation and mindfulness, actually mindfulness was hardly even known. It was, even in the East, it was one particular practice within one particular school of Buddhism. But this meditation was generally undertaken by monks, not by lay people, and it was part of a rigid practice under strict supervision, not for common people at home. What many people don't know is that in the traditions, the yoga and Buddhist traditions in which meditation is central part of the practice, what is not known that meditation, although it's said to calm the mind and release stress, which is not the actual aim of meditation originally, but it's commonly enough seen in practitioners that it's noted is that you may get all kinds of strange physical and psychic sensations and pains in the body, psychological instability, hallucinations, gross sexual desires arise, unable to control the body, demoniac possession, tendencies towards suicide. There can be very serious side effects, and that's been noted by modern psychologists also. It's not common. It is more common in those who undertake meditation very stringently, but people should know that these side effects can be there also. But the promotion of so-called meditation, I'm calling it so-called. You'll get a better idea why I'm calling it so-called as this talk goes on. This so-called meditation seems to be having salutary effects. It's said to help people better handle stress and become more calm and peaceful in their mind so that you can focus better on what you're doing, can improve your physical health. And by the popularity and the way it's being promoted, it seems that it has that kind of effect. Although in many cases it's so far away from the original spiritual goals that people take it up thinking that, well, it'll help me to focus better, and I can do my job better and maybe get a raise, get more money, buy more things that I don't need, because it's promoted by many as a way to help you become more materially competent, and in this way you can become more acquisitive without being hung up about it. You can become more selfish but you just accept yourself as you are and go on becoming more and more selfish. It helps you by improving your mental health and focus. It helps you to get a higher status in society, promotion in work, or maybe able to produce better art or music. Our own Srila Prabhupada, the founder of this Hare Krishna movement in the West, he criticized, he had seen people who were supposed to be doing meditation snoring. Good for relaxation, but it's not meant for snoring. We hear all kinds of wonderful things about the power of meditation and its ability to change not only the individual, but to reduce crime and usher in the age of Aquarius. We used to hear about this a lot, the age of Aquarius, that by meditation and peacefulness and a new age will come where the world is so much better. We don't hear about it much now. The world seems to be getting worse, but TM promoted that if enough people take up this TM, transcendental meditation, that crime will go down and mental health of the world will improve, the whole condition of the world will improve, and so on and so on. But what is the ultimate goal of meditation? Is it meant for helping to deal with stress? Kids are screaming and getting ulcers from stress. Oh, no, the etiology of ulcers has changed. Anyway, it's a good way to impress the boss by being calm as you go on with your heavy workload. Why is there so little said about what meditation will do for you after you die, which was what it was all about? It was meant to be a spiritual practice with an understanding that when we leave the body, we continue to exist. And the aim of meditation was to calm the mind, to ultimately aim at nirvana in the Buddhist system and in the yoga system, to still the mind and become free of mental activity. Well, let's say in the Buddhist system. Yeah. Anyway, it's quite complex. But anyway, it was clear that meditation was meant for specifically spiritual purposes. There are side effects. There can be beneficial side effects. But what's going on in the name of meditation in the Western world, it's not the meditation of the original yoga or Buddhist systems. It's not monks who meditate silently for at least 6 hours a day and then they live a very simple life. They'll go and chop wood and fetch water in the freezing cold, which should elevate them. The idea is to elevate the consciousness. But sitting at home doing 20 minutes a day or whatever, so-called meditation, are you going to go to heaven or nirvana or merge into the impersonal Brahman if you're even thinking of such things? What if you get your mantra slightly incorrect? Or if you're not successful in stilling the mind, if you don't do it exactly properly as the guru tells you, although people don't have gurus, or if they do, they're not teaching according to the traditional system. How can you know, even if you're interested in doing spiritual meditation, how can you know if your meditation is legitimate or it's bogus? Or who can say? Because there are so many different schools of meditation, and there isn't one agreed upon system that says this is what meditation is meant for. According to the Bhagavad Purana, which is the Nigamakalpatarā Galitam Phalam, the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic wisdom, which can confer all fruits, the ultimate goal of meditation of the yogis is dhyana vastata manaso pashanti yam yoginaha. Yogis, ultimately, in their meditation, they're supposed to be able to perceive the four-armed form of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, within their heart. So meditation, we're talking about mindfulness, has recently become hugely popular. The idea that become aware, become conscious, practice to become heightened awareness, promoting silence, maybe just trying to concentrate on your breath. Be aware, just be aware of what's going on around you. Watch our breath, bring our attention under control. What's happening just at the present moment, just be aware of it. Focusing on awareness and not trying to control the mind so much in the beginning, but just watching as if we are a third person, watching our stream of consciousness and emotions and feelings. Different people teach mindfulness in different ways. We can feel maybe sitting cross-legged, we're not used to it, and we can feel that discomfort, slight discomfort, and just be aware, awareness, mindfulness. Again, the idea, it's therapeutic, sharpens our focus, can improve our performance in work and in exams. It may be even promoted as you can have a better sex life, which traditionally the monks, they're not supposed to have sex life. Mindfulness of what? About what? And why? We should ask that. Mindfulness is an old word in English, which means the trait of staying aware, being aware of your responsibilities. It's something like conscientiousness. Be mindful, be alert about what you're supposed to do. Now it's taken on this other meaning and connected with the Vipassana school of Buddhism, which was lately promoted. Lately means in the 20th century it became quite popular, that Goenka in Burma was promoting it. Now it's widely promoted in schools and prisons, being taught in hospitals to help patients deal with the stress and trauma of sickness or injury, and to help them recover better and more quickly. Also to help the staff in the hospitals who have to deal with the stress of dealing with so many stressed people and sick people and injured people. And the same thing as the meditation, which was popular previously, the TM and other forms of yogic meditation, secularized meditation that was being promoted. Mindfulness is being promoted to help us feel more happy, more secure, more grounded in ourselves, self-mastery, help us to control our minds and emotions so we can thrive and flourish amid the various distresses of life, which is nonsense from the Buddhist perspective. Remember, this all came out of a certain strain of Buddhism, because the starting point of Buddhism is the recognition that the world is full of suffering. So to try to adjust oneself to the suffering is not the aim of Buddhism. The aim is to get out of it. Now, different Buddhists will maybe not exactly agree with that, but we can say that's a general understanding of Buddhism. And yoga also. Yoga, atyanta dukkha nivriti, becoming yoga, the definition is, one definition is negation of the excessive suffering. So adjusting oneself to the suffering of this world, adjusting oneself to this world which is full of suffering, rather than trying to get out of it, is contrary to the actual purpose of meditation or yoga or any spiritual practice within the Eastern traditions, which recognize at the outset that this world is inherently full of suffering. So to adjust ourselves to it is not the aim. Of course, we may find that Buddhist monks and Hindu sadhus, they are well adjusted to the world, but that is not their aim. They're well adjusted to the world, but they're not trying to enjoy the world. This misconception that we're trying to enjoy the world is the very cause of our suffering. So to try to perform practices which are rooted in the yoga and Buddhist traditions for the sake of adjusting ourselves so we can enjoy the world, it's absolutely contradictory. In the Buddhist context, it's not just for reducing stress, but it's part of a much broader program to promote proper thought, proper action. Mindfulness, mindfulness. Someone has made this sarcastic, what shall we say? Someone has made this sarcastic word mindfulness, just like McDonald's. McDonald's being the symbol of gross commercialism. So mindfulness, the way that mindfulness has become commercialized through self-help books, guided meditation classes, mindfulness retreats, secular spirituality. It's just an oxymoron. Secular spirituality. Instead of within the spiritual schools of the East, looking at the roots of greed, ill will, illusion, instead of looking at that, part of the whole spiritual package is to see that the root of all our materialistic mindset is this wrong kind of consciousness. But instead of understanding from the outset that our consciousness needs to be purified by meditation or mindfulness, instead it's been made into some kind of very, what shall we say, very lacking in any spiritual content whatsoever, some kind of self-help technique to increase or reinforce our basic materialistic mindset, which is how we can enjoy this world. Mindfulness. It's a $4 billion plus industry. More than 60,000 books. More than 60,000 books on Amazon have the word mindfulness or something similar in their title. Mindful parenting, mindful eating, mindful teaching, mindful therapy, mindful leadership, mindful finance, a mindful nation, mindful dog owners, and on and on and on. And there are workshops, online courses, glossy magazines, documentary films, smartphone apps, ding-ding bells, cushions, bracelets, beauty products, and other paraphernalia. And then there's the conference circuit with big shot mindfulness gurus going around charging a lot of money, speaking to Silicon Valley corporations, getting into Wall Street law firms, government agencies, including the US military, and Davos loves mindfulness. The big bosses recommend meditation for their employees. So instead of the employees complaining about work-related issues, hey, there's too much stress, now just do some mindfulness and then you can reduce the stress and you can go on working and don't complain. If you're unhappy with your conditions at work, don't complain. Just do some meditation and learn to cope with the stress. Davos loves it. And if there's improved productivity, great, let's promote it. Actually, the stated goal of traditional meditation is mindlessness, not mindfulness. To make the mind empty, to empty the mind. Chitta vritti nirodha, this yoga, the goal of yoga in the Yoga Sutras, to stop the activities of the mind. What's going on in the name of mindfulness is a bogus process taught by bogus teachers, many of whom charge exorbitant fees, and they live the high life with expensive retreats at expensive spas for high-flying, foolish people who want to be cheated. They might be good, these teachers of mindfulness. They might be good in their teaching and reducing their stress, but teaching how to cope with this world and live happily within it is a diversion from the real problems of life. Hey, I've got an idea. Our mindfulness teachers, they can go and teach mindfulness in Palestine. How about that? Go and tell the Palestinians, just do some mindfulness meditation and learn to cope with your problems. That's a good idea, isn't it? This mindfulness can be a kind of narcissism. It's all about me and what's awareness of myself. But Buddhism in particular is about negating the self. And many of these mindfulness teachers, they don't even follow basic principles like not eating meat. Basic principles accepted in at least the yogic tradition. The vast majority of Buddhists do eat meat on some pretext or other, although Lord Buddha famously said, ahimsa paramo dharma, the highest dharma is non-violence. More important than mindfulness is meaningfulness, which is also denied in much of Buddhism, that there is no meaning, there is no ultimate meaning. Shunyata, the empty of any purpose or meaning. What's empty of any purpose or meaning? Everything. But we are spiritual beings who should seek the real meaning of life. Meaningfulness should mean mindfulness of the purpose of life. Smaran nityam anityatvam. Always remember, always keep in mind, everything here in this world is temporary. But I am an eternal being, which is not accepted in Buddhism. The Buddhist take on mindfulness is ultimately useless, as Buddhism is ultimately useless, and probably many Buddhists wouldn't deny this. It's not meant to perform any usefulness in the material sense. A clear explanation of what meditation is really intended to be, or what mindfulness is really meant to be, what we should fix our mind on, what we should be mindful of, is given in the conclusion of Bhagavad-gita by Lord Krishna, who is therein and many other places in the Vedic Shastra named Yogeshvara, the master of all yoga. So there he says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mame vaishasi satyang te parijane priyosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, Krishna says. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So what should we keep in mind? Think of Krishna. Think of God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Real mindfulness, the best mindfulness, is Krishna consciousness. Being conscious, keeping in mind all the time Krishna. And that can be affected in this Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, that is best affected in this age by the mantra meditation of chanting the names of Krishna. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo nastreva, nastreva, nastreva gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other way, no other way, no other way that's going to be effective for reaching the true spiritual goal of life than to chant the name of Hari, chant the name of Hari, chant the name of Hari, Hari being another name of Krishna. So all the benefits of mindfulness, such as acceptance of situations and concomitant reduction of stress, can be had by accepting Krishna's first practical instruction in Bhagavad-gita. The ultimate instruction on mindfulness in Bhagavad-gita is at the end, to always think of Krishna. But Krishna's first practical instruction in Bhagavad-gita can give us the benefit of mindfulness very easily. And what is that instruction? Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payano nityastang statikshasva bharata. Very simple instruction, easy to understand. Krishna says that happiness and distress arise in this world due to the interactions of the senses with the sense objects. And he gives the example of heat and cold. When the temperature, when the weather is very hot, we feel distressed. When it's very cold, it's distressed. But Krishna advises, you should know that all these kind of things come and go. Everything in this world comes and goes. All things must pass. as the Bible says. So Krishna says, tolerate whatever our situation is, it's not going to remain forever. So that is the lesson, a mental adjustment by which we can get the benefit of calmness in difficult situations, or even not getting overly elated in situations where things are going well, knowing that that won't last either. Now, that's not the ultimate and total instruction of Bhagavad-gita. It's not that we just sit around accepting things. Bhagavad-gita is ultimately an injunction to act in this world in spiritual consciousness. But first thing Krishna says is that know that everything in this world comes and goes. Then, knowing this, we can be mentally detached from it. And then Krishna goes on to explain how we're detached mentally, but still we have responsibility to work and act in this world, always keeping Krishna in mind. I'm not going to explain the whole Bhagavad-gita just now, but this much I can say, don't be led astray by this bogus mindfulness. And especially those who are supposed to be devotees of Krishna. They have no business posing themselves as part of this hoax. By not preaching Krishna consciousness as it is, devotees are becoming neo-Buddhists. And by pandering to the pop culture of pseudo-spiritualism, we become cheap. We have got much better things to give. Hare Krishna.